Welcome everybody to our Freedom to Speak Up ChatPod. I'm John Brewin, Chief Executive. I'm delighted to have this session on speaking up, really important for the organisation. Today I've got our chair, Paul Devlin, and our recently substantively appointed Freedom to Speak Up guardian, Simbi Sibanda. You're very welcome, everybody, and looking forward to a great conversation.
Hello.
Yeah, and big congratulations, Simbi, as well. Delighted that you've got the substantive role, because you've been doing a really good job in the interim piece. And just in terms of this, like we usually do with these, it'd just be really good to have a bit of a conversation about freedom to speak up. And I wonder if do you want to sort of start off and just give us a little bit of your flavour of where freedom to speak up has got to, where you're wanting to take it, because it's an important month for us in terms of having a bit of focus on particularly on freedom to speak up. And I think it would be good for colleagues just to hear a bit from you about some of the incredibly good stuff that is going on at the moment in this arena.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I just want to appreciate all the support that both of you give to Freedom to Speak Up. I think you have attended and supported some of our recent events, and I've always found you to be approachable and contactable whenever I've needed support with some of the concerns that have come through. So we clearly have, a good approach in working together. As you have said, it's Speak Up Month. Yes, October. It's the National Speak Up Month, and we have quite a few things lined up. We have some big events that we are trying to hold across the different divisions. We'll be communicating that with staff to let them know. And so in terms of some of the achievements that we have heard so far, I would like to say, I think we are actually building some strong foundation, some reasonable foundation around trust with regards to freedom to speak up. And the last thing I would like to mention as well, which is quite an achievement, I think, is the recent review of our freedom to speak up, which we had, and the recent work we've been doing with NHS improvement around inclusive freedom to speak up.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's great to hear it, Simbi. And we can pick up some of the other areas where we've still got more to do, but it does, I think, really reflect how you're driving this work.
It's so important, isn't it, in a large organisation like ours, that is essentially a human organisation, that we've got environments and cultures that all our people work in, where they feel that they are trusted and they feel confident about being able to say, hang on a minute, I'm not sure that's okay, or I need a bit of clarity on that, or that isn't right, without fear of any comeback or reprisal. As Simbi said, I think we've already started to put some really strong foundations in. And just within the last week, I just think of a couple of incidents that that are both sort of positive and less positive, that are good examples. So, Paul, we met a member of staff, didn't we, who quite rightly on one of our visits raised some really important issues for them, but felt able to do that to us and acknowledged that it was an anxiety-provoking thing to do, but also at the same time was really positive about being able to access freedom to speak up, and felt really supported by Simbi's office. So that was really positive to hear. The less positive was we have a fortnightly open Q&A with the exec, and we still get quite a number of people that put anonymous questions in, and one of them specifically said this week that they were putting it in anonymously because of the current climate of fear and the very sort of sharp views that some parties have And I felt it was a good example of where we still got work to do. Great that they could raise the question, but wouldn't it be brilliant if we could continue on this endeavour to where people did feel confident and trusted that they were not only be listened to, but also that they will get a response and hopefully a resolution too.
Yeah, and I think that latter point for me, Simbi, is a part of us just remembering that whilst there's some really, really good pieces of developmental work going on, and they really are, that certainly at board level, we need to not kind of extrapolate from that and forget that actually for some of our staff, that sense is that actually it's not so safe to speak up. And I know you're working really hard, and the champions are a really strong resource for us. But alongside that, we need to remember and understand that for some of our staff, actually speaking up is difficult, and it's not just historic. And you're right, John, some of this is about current realities. And I know, for example, I was talking with one of our non-executive directors who was feeding back to me that she'd been hearing some still quite distressing stories about people's experience of racism across the organisation. And again, whilst there's a lot of good work that we've done, we really need to be alert to how we continue to recognise that it can be challenging for some of our colleagues to speak up.
In addition to what you have said about people still feeling or experiencing barriers to speaking up or not feeling as confident to speak up, I think one of the things that we are still working on is developing that trust in the process. There's still kind of a lack of trust, a detrimental deficiency, I would say, in the trust that in the process. I mean, trust in the process that yes. When people have raised concern, things are looked at, fairly and in a timely manner. Some people have said, would it be safe? Will I be okay if I raise a concern? And people are still quite unsure that this is safe. But what I would like to say is that Freedom to Speak Up is a confidential service which is there for staff. You can speak up in confidence, and you have the opportunity to let me know whether you want your name to be withheld while the issues you raised are being addressed, and you will be supported throughout.
Great. That's you've given a great summary at the end there, Simbi. So I think the last thing I'd say, John, is that just to be really, really clear about Simbi having our personal total backing, but also from the whole of the board. And I know you've worked with the board as well, Simbi, and the board is fully behind you, and it's really good for us to be able to work with you on this. So, John, anything you want to add as a final comment?
No, thank you. Just to thank Simbi for all the work that she and her team are doing, and to reiterate that, Paul, that you've got our 100% support. It's a long haul. It's a long-term endeavour, and we'll keep working away so that we get where we need to be on this, because it's such an important part of all our business. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Simbi.
Thank you very much.